welcome to Forte Catholic. I'm Taylor Schroll. That's Chris Bartlett. Happy New Year. Merry Chrysler. What's up, Bartlett?
Hey, what's up, brother? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Since we last recorded, because we're doing these monthly now, which is funny that a lot of people were very confused. I'm like, well, if you would have just listened to the podcast, it would have been all explained to you, but people only watch the clips, which is the whole reason we quit doing it weekly anyway. I thought that was a really funny response. People are like, oh, so you quit? I'm like, no, but yes, I don't know. Just go listen. But since you and I last recorded in mid-December, we have celebrated my favorite year on the church calendar. I am going to give you 3 strikes to guess what that day is.
So your favorite day?
My favorite day of the year on the church calendar.
Is it Epiphany?
It is not Epiphany. That is strike 1. You know why it's not my favorite? Because they make me go to Mass twice in a week.
Okay, then that takes out January 1st, the Feast of Mary, Mother of God.
You are correct. I'm not going to give you your second strike because that was just logical thinking.
I hacked it. Taylor, I have no Candlemas. I don't think we've gotten there yet. I don't know.
What is Candlemas?
Exactly.
I don't know what that is.
The last day you can justify leaving your Christmas decorations up.
I thought that was Epiphany. That's when I take mine down.
It's July 4th.
Oh, what?
In Tennessee, it's July 4th. Yeah.
July, like Independence Day?
Yeah, if you still get your Christmas decorations up by July 4th, in Tennessee, it means you're a redneck, and no one wants to be considered a redneck. Not in Tennessee.
Well, that's just practical. Like, you can't see the fireworks if there's lights in your house. You got to turn those off and then look up in the sky. What?
Is it Our Lady of Guadalupe? I'm doing Our Lady of Guadalupe.
No, I think it's hilarious that you didn't pick the most obvious one. Did you do that?
Is it Christmas?
No, but I thought that's
the most obvious one. What are you doing?
I was setting you up for failure, and you failed, but not like I thought you would, which is funnier, good. I guess. I'm going to give you one more guess after I give you a hint, because it is not technically a day on the church calendar, and it actually happens twice a year in most parishes. I will give you a hint. It wasn't a mass, because I ran this event. Now, for this event to happen, priests did need to be involved. But like the priest is a celebrant at Mass and he's in charge, priests were there and they had to be there for this event to happen. But I ran it. Is
it like the Advent penance service or something like that?
Ding, 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 you win. My favorite day of the year on the church calendar, which I know technically it's not on the liturgical calendar, but it is on the church calendar because most parishes do this. We typically do one in the Advent season and one in the Lenten season. It is my favorite day of the year, and it has been for many years. I haven't been responsible for it at the parish in 6 years because that's the last time that I actively worked there. And I was responsible for it this year, and it went so swimmingly well. And I think, and people could argue with me, I guess. I think more done.
They will, just to let you know. You guessed correctly. They will argue with you.
I think more good gets done in the lives of parishioners on Penance Service Day than any other day of the year.
So I will say that we recently led one of those confirmation retreats that you and I are going to have the pleasure of doing here in just a couple of weeks. And the retreat center was able to provide a couple of priests for confession. It was me and Jeremy. I know you feel like you're playing second fiddle to Jeremy, but we did a banger job. It was excellent. Adoration was beautiful. Everything. At the end, when you invite the teens up to share and different things like that, 90% of them said, when I went to confession, this happened. The priest shows up for an hour. Jeremy and I labor the entire retreat, and the priest shows up in an hour, and it changed their lives. So I think that, and it's the sacramental grace, and different things like that. So I think that you have a pretty strong argument there, because you can't coast through a confession like you can just kind of sit through a mass. Right. And there's sacramental grace at a mass as well. But I would agree.
It's like thinking about it. Like I physically think about, how do I say this? It's not physical, it's spiritual, but I picture it. Like I can picture the sin and lack of grace disappearing and grace just filling up the church in a way that I don't feel at a lot of masses. Because I think that would be the argument. The argument against me would be every Sunday is better than the penance service because people are receiving Jesus. And my argument would be back, are they receiving it? Is everybody there receiving a state of grace though? Like you kind of need this first one for that one to be like, there are other special masses. Cause I think most people would say that like, what's the most important day on the church calendar? You'd probably say Christmas or Easter or Good Friday, or, you know, one of those would probably be the most common. Like if we were playing Steve Harvey's show, what's that called? Family Feud?
Yeah.
Like
top answers on the board.
Those would be the top answers. Christmas, Easter, Good Friday, you know, that
maybe Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday. Yeah, exactly. Like that would be the one that I get wrong, and then you steal on, and then the Bartlett family wins. But actually, this isn't real because two nerdy white families can't play. It has to be one nerdy white family and one fun black family, and neither of us are one of those. So we couldn't. This scenario doesn't work in multiple different ways. But I think more good gets done on that day because like. Think about the amount of sins that are immediately gone, the amount of years and or months and or days of people not going to confession. So how we do it at our parish is, and in our deanery, so like the area, our county, essentially the Catholic county, that every parish hosts one of these, and all the priests are like, they all commit to each other. I will be at as many as possible. And as long as I go to 5 or 6, then 6 to 8 priests will come to my parish on mine. If I don't go to any, they probably won't come to mine, kind of thing.
I loved when I worked at a parish the day after because we would have like a hospitality room for the priests because sometimes it would run over a mealtime, whether it be lunch or dinner or whatever. And so they'd have all these, cheese trays or sandwich things or whatever. And so the day after, especially if you got to it before, noon or whatever, you would get whatever was left over in those little trays. And I would always get a pretty good meal out of it the day after the penance service.
I thought people were going to argue with me. Your favorite day on the church calendar is the day after the parish penance service.
The day after I get an old sandwich for free.
The benefits of working at the church. You get a cheese sandwich twice a year, and you don't have to pay
sandwich.
For it.
A bad sandwich tastes better when it's free. Like it was a good sandwich because it was free. Otherwise, it was just your average sandwich.
I love that most people like priests because they can do special things with bread, and you're like, I'll just take their leftover bread.
I get the leftover bread, and it makes my day. It really does. Oh.
But like, I think about it like just like in terms of numbers, because so how our parish does it is we have one in the morning and one during the evening, because we're one of the larger parishes. I think we're the largest parish in the area. So we had one in the morning from 10 to 12. Then we had another one in the evening from 6 to 8, but from 5 to 6, all the priests were there still because we were doing first confessions for our kids going through First Communion here in a month or two. And like I've been, when I stepped in, I wasn't the only person doing this, but now I'm responsible for forming these kids for their First Communion. And like, it was really cool to see them
logistically brilliant.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Like they're already there anyways.
Right.
Show up an hour early. That way you don't have to come drive in on a Tuesday night when we're going to do this. Yeah.
Right.
Brilliant.
And even more logistic, like Father figured this part out. So because we have 2, it's a big ask for these priests because a lot of priests are coming in from out of town. Now, we have a lot of priests in town, so, some of them aren't, but they came from 10 to 12, heard confessions. At the parish down the road was the deanery Christmas party for the priests and all of the parish staff. So we went and you talked about the hospitality. Our hospitality was a Christmas party. We went over to this parish and we ate and we hung out and then we played like Catholic trivia. And I'm new at this job and I think I'm pretty smart. Me, my wife, somebody on the youth ministry staff, and our pastor we got almost last place in this Catholic trivia thing. It was unbelievable how confident we all were in the wrong answers. And I'm glad we all got them wrong because we all got to feel stupid in front of our pastor. And then he got a question wrong when he was incredibly confident he had the right answer. It was like, that was my Christmas present, was us all feeling stupid together.
Nice. Solidarity is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. And then a few hours later, we all came back, right? Because, 3:00 and then a couple hours off and then everybody came back. And it was just, so like the reasons I love it is one, just the sheer, the moments is the first one, right? The people and the moments and the joy and I love efficiency. And because I was running it, I think it was the most efficient it's been in our parish in about 6 years since I ran it the last time. And, iterating and improving some things. And like multiple people were saying like, hey, this is the fastest it's gone. And we got through the line, all this stuff. Like we had great help. We had great volunteers. It was like the whole formation team was running this with me. Like it was just a beautiful day of efficiency. All the priests were happy. All the people were happy, except for one guy. One guy was really funny. I think he just wanted something to complain about because when he was there, we had 10 options for priests. 2 of them, you had to go upstairs to go to. And I asked him, I was like, hey, there's all these priests. You have these 8 options because these 2 you can't go to because he has a walker. And I was like, there's one here and one here. Like a lot of the older people that were coming in with walkers, we put them in the closest 2 lines. There's no hills, no stairs, nothing. And they didn't have to go very far. But he was like, the process of it happening was really funny because he was like, there's a list of all the priests. Do you want a specific priest or do you want the fastest line or the easiest line for handicap stuff? And he was like, well, let me pick a priest. And then he picked a priest and he specifically picked one of the priests that was on the stairs. And he's like, well, I want to go to him. I'm like, well, he's on the stairs. He's like, well, I can't go on the stairs. I was like, yeah, that's why I suggested 80% of the other options. He's like, well, I want him. I'm like, well, you can't have him. And he just stood there and argued with me for like 5 minutes. And I was like, just go over there and say your sins. And then he came up and thanked me after. It was very funny. But the other 99% of people were all very happy with how it went. And like thinking about the amount of like days, weeks, months, years since people's last confessions, like there are multiple people that were like, this is the first time in a year, my first time in 5 years, my first time in 20 years. Like I just came back to the church and this is like a big step.
This was my second confession.
Yeah. Like just a beautiful, beautiful day. And I've used this reference before, but I always think about it like the 7th Harry Potter movie. Well, I guess it's the 8th movie. Whenever Voldemort is shooting at the school, but the school has this like orb of protection around it. And I feel like the orb of protection around the Catholic Church is at its strongest on parish penance service days. And it waxes and wanes throughout the year after that. So that's my favorite day on the church calendar. And also Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Yes. Merry Christmas back at you.
How was your Christmas?
I had a great Christmas. My folks came in. Not my folks. My dad passed away this year.
I was like, that's impressive.
Holy cow. My brother is Weekend at Bernie's. My dad, if you've not seen Weekend at Bernie's, then you didn't think it was funny. But there's 3 people out there that were like, yeah, that's pretty good. But my mom came in with my brother and his family. And my sister just had a baby. It's like 8 months old. But we're at Mass. And so I want to tell you about 2 Mass things that happened at the season of Christmas. We're at Mass and the baby's getting fussy. And we didn't go to the 4:00 Mass, where all the kids dress as shepherds and all that different thing. And because it basically is like, you have to, this is Sparta for the pew. Like, this is my pew. And you're having to like fend people off and that whole thing. And I'm like, we don't have to deal with that. So we went to the 6:30 and you could find seats up till about 4 minutes before Mass started, which I thought was a pretty low stress situation. My daughter and I went and reserved seats a half hour early just to be safe. And so my sister's there and she's got her baby and it's the end of Mass and it's a typical Christmas Mass. So about an hour and 10 minutes. And the baby is getting fussy. Like it's kind of had its limit. And so they're singing,
was there a drummer boy right next to the baby playing as loud as he possibly could?
He was little though. It was a little drummer boy. Parumpa-pum-pum.
But he was also 55 years old. He was a little drummer boy.
Yes. Yeah. He was a fully grown. They let him out of Santa's workshop. So the final song is Angels We Have Heard on High. And my sister, we're all singing the closing hymn as the priests are kind of walking out. And all these people behind me start laughing. You can just hear them start to laugh. And then I hear my niece, the baby, is laughing as well. My sister is literally at the Gloria part, Gloria, right? That part. She's lifting her up and moving her down like with the octave or with just moving and the baby is having a blast. And you know who else is having a blast? Literally everyone that could see the baby behind her and everyone's laughing and things like that. And it wasn't the most reverent moment, throwing a baby around in the air or whatever during the closing hymn or whatever, but it was fitting to the moment. Like, Christmas is a time of joy. It was celebration and elation, and holding a baby in the air to bring it joy, to calm it down, as opposed to just shh or move into a different spot or whatever. It brought people around him joy. And Christmas is about new life and heaven kissing earth, and different things like that. And so I thought it was cool, but from maybe a more objective level, not the most reverent moment, right? So I want you to hold that in your mind, and I'm going to flash forward literally 1 week later to January 1st, the Mary Mother of God Mass. And so we're out in San Antonio.
Watch your mouth.
Okay. Mary Mother of God.
You watch your mouth.
Holy Mary, Mother of God.
That's okay.
Okay. So, so we're there at this church that we're not super familiar with, and or the parish, and it's packed. It's like the 11:30. They had like an 8 a.m. First of all, like, who does that? Who's just going to do on January 1st an 8 a.m.? I guess there's people that don't stay up to listen to their dogs get scared of fireworks, but nevertheless, we're there, and there's like benches on the side. And so all the pews fill up, and then some of the side benches start filling up, and then it's standing room only in the back. Like, it was crowded. And it's after communion, everyone's sitting down, reverently praying. And there's a family that's on the bench over to the side, to the right of us. And I look over and I hear just tiny giggles. And it's a 2-year-old. And his dad is there with the 2-year-old in his lap. And the dad is just squeezing the finger and then giving it a tug, like kind of cracking the knuckles of the boy or whatever. And you could tell that the dad is doing that to keep the 2-year-old quiet. The 2-year-old's not doing a very good communion meditation afterwards or whatever. He's just a 2-year-old. And but the dad is still praying. His eyes are still closed, and he's just doing it to engage his son. And then he gets like an elbow from his wife, and this look, the mom looks at the boy and the husband, and just gives him this look like, how dare you, during this sacred time. And you could see the father and the son at the same moment die inside, and just all of the joy and everything was taken out of it. And then the husband shifted from praying and playing at the same time to sitting reverently and quietly and just kind of staring forward. You could see him kind of counting down the minutes till mass was done. And it broke me, Taylor. I saw it, and it like broke my heart that it was this element of like, let's try and be reverent. And they weren't doing anything that was super distracting or anything like that. And I honestly think the more reverent moment was a father engaging his son so that he could stay focused in prayer and model for his son that, like, God wants to be playful and engage us in that way. He's not about us just sitting still. It's not a military God, And I think about that sometimes in my own, I guess, projection of Catholicism. If I lead with the rules and not the relationship, I think I'm more like that situation on New Year's Day as opposed to the situation on Christmas Day. And I think Christ was a lot more better reflected in the moment when that baby was being lifted into the air.
Yeah, I'm really sorry Kendra did that to you, and I hope she's apologized since.
I have had moments like that where I'm the one giving the look, or where she's the one giving the look, and I just steal all the joy out of my spouse, or my spouse steals all the joy out of me. And I was like, oh, that cut deep, because I've been that person before, even as a youth minister, to be like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I got so mad at someone, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. I got so mad at a teen for fidgeting, and they were trying to get their confirmation name tag sticker that they need on their, it kept falling off. And so they were digging around in the pew to try and find it so they could get confirmed. And I'm like, you need to sit still. And they looked at me like, it won't stick. And I was like, oh, I came into a situation with guns blazing, and they actually just needed me to say, is everything okay? And they're like, my sticker won't stick. Am I going to still get confirmed? They were so concerned. So I've been that guy.
Now you're going to hell now. You blew it.
Your sticker didn't make it. Exit stage left.
So the funny with the Gloria, while you were lifting up the baby, and doing this multiple times. What?
It was my sister. It wasn't me lifting up the baby.
Hold on. What?
Okay.
What movie do you think of whenever this happens?
Oh, Lion King, the Simba moment.
And then you literally said it's the circle of life in your explanation of it, which I thought was hilarious, and it made me start to think like you know that's what I think of every time the priest holds up the host. Have we talked about this?
No, Ella. So during the liturgy of the Eucharist time, you think of the Lion King.
Yeah. Every time, like, because it's the same motion. You're holding up the king. You're holding up the king. Like Father is holding up the king. Father is holding up the king. Like it's all there. And I've been thinking about so that's just a little. If you want to talk about reverence or lack thereof, I want you to know that the highest moment of every mass, I'm thinking of the Lion King because I cared about that movie before I cared about Jesus. So.
Does Father turn into a cartoon version? Do you like project the Disney animation on it?
No, I'm not an idiot.
I would have preferred you say I'm not that creative. That would have been a better response instead of demeaning me, like with one look, demeaning me.
I thought it was funny that I took it too far, and then you took it one step further, and I acted like you were ridiculous. That was more the funny part to me. But I think you're right in, like, first of all, the first way to win that argument, it's the closing hymn. When does Mass end, Chris Bartlett?
The Mass never ends. It has to be lived. So let us go forth to love and serve each other and the Lord.
No, that's what your deacon says. That's not what's in the germ.
I know. That's why there was a youth ministry group that said that at the end of every youth mass, and it became problematic. At the closing blessing, right?
Yeah,
the mass is ended. Let us go in peace.
It's not a secret. He literally says the mass is ended. So then, like, I used to be like, oh, you have to stay until the end, until the choir finishes the third verse, or you have to leave after Father leaves, or you're going to hell. No. None of that's real. If you want to leave after Father leaves out of respect for the priest, perfectly fine. If you want to leave after the 19th verse of Angels We Have Heard of on High that we've never literally heard, but you heard it because the rest of us left and we're halfway done with our lunch, like, you can stay if you want, but he said Mass is ended. Shoo! Go away!
Shoo! Don't feel guilty about it. But if they end up, it's like the 4th of July weekend or Veterans Day or Memorial Day, then once the follow-up hymn where they start singing America the Beautiful, you stay in your pew. You're a patriot.
No, I will also be leaving.
You would have already gotten out of there, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have already gotten out of there.
It's funny, what I found myself doing during the closing hymn, I think it might have been Angels We Have Heard on High. I wasn't picking up my 8-year-old and Simba-ing her. That's a verb now. But we were definitely dancing. Like, it's Christmas. Like, The baby Jesus is here. Everybody's happy. The church is all decorated. Like, I'm not a dancer. I'm a large, fat, white man. Like, I don't dance. I was dancing because I was happy. And, I'm not doing some African dance down the middle of the pews. I'm just kind of wobbling in my chair. And, it's fun. Like, I have some joy in church. Oh, no.
And I think that might be a good discernment metric of, like, should I do this thing or should I not do this thing? Which one releases more joy into the world? Which one releases more joy into the world? And do that thing. Do that thing. I'm telling you, when someone makes a little toot in church, we giggle. We don't scoff. We giggle because that releases more joy into the world, and something else just got released into the world. So it's better to follow up with joy than a scoff.
We got to negate it. We got to negate it with some joy.
That's right.
The second one, I think that's a sad story. That really is a sad story because it means that you and Kendra just aren't on the same page spiritually, emotionally, marriage-wise. Like, that's really
it wasn't
sad.
us. Okay, golly.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but I think parents know best what's best for their children. And whenever parents disagree on that, it's always going to cause some strife, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But I think what the father was doing, like, he knows his child, and, like, it's always the balance with parenting a kid in Mass. We've talked about this ad limita. What's the word? We've talked about it
ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. There we go. I am nauseated when I hear you talk. Correct. So we've talked about it a ton, but it's like the balance that you have to find as a parent, especially of young kids, between being reverent and also keeping the moment reverent for everyone else. Like by playing with the kid's fingers or whatever he is doing, right? The dad is praying. Or let's put it this way. Do we know that the dad was praying? We don't know, right? But which situation is it more likely that the dad is praying? Whenever he is praying with his son and kind of fidgeting with his fingers, or right after his wife scolds him? Like, I think there's a 0% chance that he's praying after his wife scolds him because he's sad and frustrated and probably wants to retort, but he can't because it's church and he has to be reverent, all these sorts of things. But like, if I get scolded, like my immediate response isn't prayer, and like maybe it should be, but it is not, right? Like if I'm the person in that situation, or if you're the person in this situation, like you're not, like that's not my natural response. When like if I'm that guy, the odds that I'm praying are somewhere between 60 to 80% if I'm doing that with my son's fingers.
Sure, and
it's 0 the moment after I get scolded for it. And like, who was hurt by this? Who was hurt by this? The previous situation? Nobody, right? Who's hurt now that the guy got scolded? Now he is. And now their drive home is probably not going to be great. The rest of their day is probably not going to be great. It's like,
and why is there a scenario where you have to disengage your children in order to engage the Lord? I just don't think that's how our God works.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could absolutely be praying and playing at the same time because we have a God that delights in us. So why wouldn't he want us to model that and delight in our own children?
Yeah.
So
it's like, and I think there's obviously a balance to this, right? Like if you're doing the holding up your baby during the communion hymn, like, okay, I'd probably say that's probably not appropriate, right? Like there's levels to this. There's appropriateness to this. And like, we're always going to run into situations where we disagree with people about what's appropriate. Like you and I have talked about this, about comedy stuff, but also when it comes to like reverence in church, like everybody in that church has a different line of what's reverent and what's not. Like one thing that like I don't do for better or worse is like, I don't do the full genuflection like we were taught to do when we were kids. I'm very tall. I've always been very tall, and I'm very heavy and my knees hurt. Like it's pretty hard for me if without stretching and like doing 3 warm-up laps around the church to do that motion without going on the way up. Like, so I do.
Or needing an usher to help you the rest of the way up. Like logistically, it would create a block of people getting
the ushers couldn't help me. They would also break their knees. They're in a much worse situation. But like, I just do it. Like I get 50% of the way there and then just get in the pew. And like, I'm sure some people are really bothered by that. You know who it doesn't bother at all? Me or probably God. Yep. Like leave me alone. And like, it's one of those things where it's like, we have to realize what is our like personal preference of what is reverent and what is like actually reverent. Like throwing your baby up and dancing your baby during communion, I think we could probably all agree is irreverent. But like, if somebody does it, like I'm not going to be the person that talks to them about it because I have already shown what I do in these situations. I don't talk to that person. I come and I blast them on this podcast. That is how I respond to those situations.
So how can we have a personal and corporal experience at the liturgy, right, with the community, without it feeling corporate, like there's just one certain way to behave,
right?
Because I think that God is actually
you leave everybody alone. That's how you do it. You engage you engage each other before Mass and during the sign of peace, and other than that, you leave people alone.
But I think we also engage others by being unified in our responses and in the worship and different things like that. And one of those pieces is leaving people alone. So if you have a little prayer that you say after communion, I want you to say that prayer, but I don't want you to say it out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do, I will dance my baby in front of you. And my baby.
I will go get someone else's baby, right. And I will dance all the babies in front of you.
I will asabuena with my 6 foot, 12-year-old boy and just dance him in front of you as you try to pray.
Yes, but only after a sports practice. That way you get the full effect of 12-year-old boy.
Yikes.
I just incensed you with a human. Now sit down and be quiet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I just started coughing when you mentioned incense. The incense we use at our church it's just cough gas. That's all it is.
It's out of this world. It is supernatural.
Yes, very, very much so. Okay. Very good. I have a couple of things when it comes to, we're going to do some old school Forte Catholic stuff. We're going to talk about faith and media. You ready for this?
Habemos Instagramium.
Yeah. Yes. So one of the greatest things, the most popular thing we've ever created with Forte Catholic happened on right after we said the show's over.
We're done making things regular, and they're like, I can't get enough.
If you haven't listened in the last 2 months, long story short, the weekly show is over. The monthly show is here. The monthly show is me and Chris once a month doing the show, but we're not doing the weekly thing. We're not pushing on social media. And one of the reasons, not the only, but one of the reasons is that the show's popularity was declining. We were posting things and we weren't getting our bang for our buck. We were, the viewership was declining on the video, on the audio, on social media. So we just decided, look, I'm going to put our eggs into a different basket and go take this other job, but still, keep this thing that we like once a month. Well, right after we made that decision, this time last year, I posted that over the course of the year, we reached roughly 1.5 to 2 million people with the podcast, with the video. Most of those numbers are inflated by social media because, a video goes viral for us, 20,000, usually they're I would be happy in the 10 to 100,000. And that's kind of where we typically had been. Right. And then we stopped posting. We stopped doing all the things the algorithm says of post more often, post better content, all this stuff. And then you and I talked last month about Pope Leo and that video. So last year, all year.
Combined total.
Combined total, 1.5 to 2 million people.
Last year being 2025 or 2024?
2024. So when we did when we did our January 2025 episode, we were talking about 2024. So now we're doing our January 2026 episode and we're talking about 2025. I don't know our total numbers because, again, I stopped caring whenever we stopped doing the show. But one video that you and I did, we posted it on all the normal places like we usually do. And, of course, on Twitter, it got nothing. On LinkedIn, it got nothing because who cares, right? On YouTube, typically that's where our videos pop off. YouTube, it got 1,500 views, which is a really good short video for us. And then on Instagram and TikTok combined, it's sitting around 700,000 views right now, which is
unbelievable.
This one video clip, 60 seconds, is the thing that more people have seen that I've created than anything else. And it was the moment that I stopped trying, which is hilarious and pisses me off.
Infuriatingly pleasant.
Yes, exactly. So it's very strange how this whole thing works. And I could only laugh. And it was about the Pope coming to NCYC or live streaming into NCYC and people, the comments, when people view and comment and reshare, that's what makes things go viral. And I looked up what is viral and for an account our size, we went viral. People leave me alone. Right. But it was it's because it was the Pope. It's because a lot of people that were there started sharing it, young people started sharing it. And so it got a new demographic. We typically don't have the 14 to 18 demographic because I'm an old fat man and you're an old nerd. And so we typically don't reach that group unless they're forced to be at a retreat with us. Right. So
correct.
They only hang out with us when they pay. That's funny. But we're talking about the Pope, and that, obviously is going to be all the negative comments about the Pope and the Catholic Church and how we're all going to hell or whatever. But most of it was overwhelmingly positive. And then a bunch of people being like, why is this such a big deal? What does he even do all day? Why doesn't he do this more often? I'm like, you do realize that he's the Pope of the world? It's kind of a big deal for him to hang out with what is a large gathering, but what was that? 1% of 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 the Catholic Church. The dude's
1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%.
So I don't know. It was just really funny. You were like, "What made it go viral?" I was like, "I don't know, man." It's just we quit caring and quit trying, and the Lord's like, "I bless this." Whoa, it's very silly.
Well, I will say that I think it's pretty clear that Pope Leo loves the youth more than he loves college students.
Absolutely, because he did a pre-recorded message for Seek, and it was only a few minutes. So
it's only a few minutes for Seek, and he spent a full nearly an hour with them young people. So good job, Pope Leo. We're reading in between the lines. We know.
It's very funny, but it was cool. Like the negative comments come, and that's just a normal part of what happened. Like most of them get filtered, and only I see them. Y'all see a bunch of the other ones. Sometimes I delete them. Sometimes I troll them. Like it just kind of is what it is. Like this one had so many comments that like I couldn't keep up with half of them. But it was like overwhelmingly positive. Of like what, like the coolest ones were like people who were like, I'm a devout Christian. I typically don't enjoy Catholic stuff, but I really like this Pope, and I really like that he did this. And I was like, that's really cool. Like that the Pope is like, there was a lot of Catholics that like, we love our Pope. Viva. Like it was at one point it got like translated into other languages because it had reached some other people. So like people started like commenting like long live the Pope in multiple languages. Like it was just a cool experience and just kind of hilarious that the most popular, like I think before like 150 was our most popular, 150,000 was our most popular thing we ever posted. We just blew that out of the water.
I watched it. At one point, we're talking about the Pope, and it's like, Pope Leo. You're like, yeah, Pope Leo, and da-da-da-da-da. And I get going, and I'm in a rhythm, and I'm like, yeah, and I can't believe Pope Francis did that. I even have a mistake in this reel. Like, you're telling me 700,000 people heard me talk about Pope Leo and accidentally call him Pope Francis. This is great news. This is making my day.
It's crazy that, one, I haven't noticed that, and two, that no one pointed it out. Like, that's usually the kind of thing that people comment
the about. Internet jumps on.
Yeah, exactly. Spelling something wrong or misquoting something or whatever. So that was really funny. But I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot about it. So I over the Christmas break, I was pretty stressed out. I was happy, but that first 6 weeks at my new job was a whirlwind, and I was exhausted. And because I was able to slow down over Christmas, like
you were grinding, dude. I got grinding those first 6 weeks.
I got very sick. I think I had some kind of flu-ish thing for like 3 weeks. Got a steroid pack and felt amazing for 7 days, and it kind of came back. And like there was only a few days that I was like sick, but like pretty much the whole break, like I had some kind of fog over me, and like even now I'm like still pretty tired getting back to work and all those sorts of things. But
yeah,
I got to rest, which means I got to catch up on a bunch of like movies and TV. So I want to highlight a couple. I want to highlight 2 movies, and I want to highlight 2 video games. The first movie, did y'all see the David movie? The like Christian animated
not yet.
David movie?
No, not Angel Studios. Yeah.
Yeah, I typically don't like Christian movies, and I thought it was very well done. Like they did the David and Goliath story, but then they also added in some like some of his like middle-aged stuff, like as like the second half of the movie, and it was like about Amalekites and stuff that like I didn't really know. Like I've read the Bible, but it's like those aren't the stories you remember. You remember David and Bathsheba, you remember David and Goliath, you remember David, building the kingdom and all these sorts of things, but like clearing out this other group. Like I thought it was really well done. And like there was a comedy and levity to it. The music was really good. Like there's a scene where he's going from like where it's transitioning halfway through the movie from young David to the older David. And it's Phil Wickham, who is like the singer and the voice guy, like the famous Christian musician.
Yeah.
And like the guy that plays young David is, he's playing a kid. He's probably, in his 20s or something. But it transitions in the middle of the song from this like kid voice, who's very good for a kid, into like this powerful Phil Wickham voice. And like he's him for the rest of the movie. And it was like, I don't know. I just thought it was really well done. The kids really enjoyed it. And so like the shock there is that I enjoyed a Christian movie. I think your family would really enjoy. I'm surprised y'all haven't gone.
Yeah. Well, getting to the theater is a challenge for us at times. But I will say that it was fascinating to see that it outperformed SpongeBob SquarePants, its opening weekend.
It did really well.
David's opening weekend outperformed, and it was probably the third week for SpongeBob, but still, in regards to family movies that are out there, there's not a lot to choose from. And David outdid it. And that's really encouraging for and it's happening across the board. Like Bible sales are up 12% in 2025, and all book sales are down 8% in 2025. And so there's just something that's happening in our nation where at least consumer Christianity is on the rise. And that's great. And it allows higher quality things to be produced, and studios exist to support that. I'm glad you took your family. Did you take all five of you went?
Yeah, we did. It was really, really fun. And then the second movie that I want to highlight is my recency bias would say my favorite Catholic movie ever made. I think it's probably my second Catholic movie ever made. Came out over this Christmas break. And the big spoiler alert is that it's not a Catholic movie. And yet it remains my second favorite Catholic movie ever made. The Wake Up Dead Man, the Benoit Blanc on Netflix, it's from the Knives Out trilogy. Have you ever watched any of the Knives Out movies?
I have. Yep. Glass Onion and
yeah. So you did watch the previous two?
Yeah.
So you know Benoit Blanc, right? It's Daniel Craig, who's was the last James Bond.
The detective.
Yeah. And it's James Bond playing a Southern man, a gay man. Well, we'll put that out there very quickly because it actually ties in. There's an important piece to that in the third movie.
But he's the Sherlock Holmes character.
Yeah, and he's very smart, and it's very funny to watch James Bond walk in and say, "Now I say, there has been a murder in the Catholic Church, and one of yous is the culprit." Like, it's very fun to hear James Bond talk like my ancestors. Like, that's very fun for me. But Wake Up Dead Man, I saw the trailers, and I very much like the Knives Out series. I loved the first movie. I thought the second movie sucked, but I got to watch Benoit Blanc do his thing, so I was ultimately fine with it.
You're in, yeah.
The third one, I saw the trailer, and it has all these people that I love in it, including Thanos playing a priest. And it has all these, that's essentially, these movies are like, let's get a cast of 10 famous actors, another 5 to 6 that are either up and coming or like, I know that person from somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where. And let's throw them all together. And it's a murder mystery, and anybody in the room could have done it. It's like Clue, but for modern day. Very, very fun.
Right.
Then I saw the trailer for this one, Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man. And it's like the primary person is Josh Brolin, Thanos, playing a Catholic priest. And then there's another, like, kind of one of the more up and coming actors playing another priest. And I'm like, oh no, like, this is going to be rough. Like,
right. Like your experience with the Indiana Jones video game, to where
right.
They did something that just made the Catholic Church look moronic. And you're like, I'm so mad at this whole thing. And so you're walking in like with your walls up, you're guarded going into it thinking they're probably going to botch it.
Right. And so, like, I went in assuming it's going to be like something like media that I watch that maybe doesn't agree with my Catholicism. Like, there's some media that I enjoy that some people would say isn't very good. Like, I really like Game of Thrones for the story of Game of Thrones and the acting and all that kind of stuff, right?
And I'd prefer to go to heaven. Right.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
But like, I went into it being like, I think I'm going to enjoy this movie as long as it doesn't like completely ruffle my Catholic feathers, right? I was like, I like these actors. I like this storyteller. I like Benoit Blanc a lot. But it's like, we learned in the second movie that he's a gay man. And I'm like, he's going into a Catholic church. There's a murder in the Catholic church. I'm like, this is a recipe for a disaster for Catholics in Hollywood. And then I heard that, like, oh no, like, there's like a Catholic priest like consulted on this, and it wasn't Father James Martin. So I'm like, oh, like, this could be good. Like, this could actually be a good thing. And I watched the movie, and sure enough, it starts. I'm going to do some light spoilers now. I will do a big spoiler for the end of the movie, and I'll tell you when we get there, and everybody can muff their ears except for Chris, I guess. But you watch the movie, and it's a small town parish, kind of in a dying parish, which, like, I just think they captured current American Catholicism very, very well. And they kind of showed the good side and the bad side of it, which I thought was fair. So, like, the older priest, the Josh Brolin character, is the kind of fiery, kind of more fire and brimstone kind of preacher, because he comes from the old school, and you're not really sure why he's kind of like gruff, but he's an older priest who's gruff and kind of worn down by the world. Like, we've all met a priest like that, right? Like, he's kind of this fiery, and he has like kind of a cult following. Like, we've all seen priests who have a cult following because they're saying things that you and I would say were hateful. He would say are the real truth. And so, like, they captured this real thing pretty well in Josh Brolin's character. And then you have this younger priest who's more like a Father Anthony, like younger guy trying to figure out how he fits in as a priest, trying to be deferential to the old priest, but like the old priest is doing some things that are pretty clearly un-Catholic, sinful. So you kind of have these two, and it ultimately becomes a kind of a battle between I need to fight against the world to save my church, is the Josh Brolin priest, or I need to love the world and bring the church to them, or bring them to the church, either way. And there's a battle between them, and it kind of shows that like there is maybe something that each side can learn from each other. Like ultimately the younger priest is the right one. Like we have to lead with love, but like,
yeah.
Like there, so some of the things that happen, and there was one part of me that was like, I was not, as a Catholic watching it, I was not bothered at all by Josh Brolin's priest, the depiction of him, because I know multiple priests like that. I know the old gruff priest who's been beaten down and gets really grumpy at the end of his life, and maybe he was known as a more loving priest in his younger days, or he's older and gruffer, but I heard 40 years ago he was a little bit more dynamic. I've also seen the like famous priest with a cult following who says things to build up his base, not necessarily because it came from the gospel. Okay. The old priest goes to the young priest for confession, and he starts confessing some sexual sins, and it's pretty graphic. And then the young priest, like you can see it because like it's a video, like, you know, it's a private confession.
I'm
like,
just imagining the person who was like, I didn't know he was starting the spoilers. Oh man, you ruined that one for me. I wanted to find that one out on my own. Right. I wanted to encounter the sexual sin just directly without Taylor giving me a heads up.
Right. And the young priests, like they finish confession. It's kind of left ambiguous of like, did he not say the prayer of absolution that a priest is supposed to say? Because like, let's put it this way. The older priest was saying that he was committing sexual sin, but the younger priest had found prescriptions proving that he could not have done what he said that he did, because he could not have done what he said what he did.
Yep.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is why you don't set up ad-free Spotify on a youth group playlist.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You get ads for those medications. Those during youth group. Yeah.
That's that also has never happened to you for sure. But so like the young priest knows it, so it's like, does he not say the prayers of absolution because he knows that he's lying to him in confession, which is like we as the viewer know that he's lying, or does he not say it because it's a Hollywood movie? Like we don't really know, right? Then we go throughout the movie and there's a murder. Like I don't know if this is a spoiler, light spoiler, because I think this is a trailer. Josh Brolin's the character that dies. The old priest is the priest that dies, and apparently he's murdered. And there's this whole plot of like him rising again after the third day, and like legitimately he's walking around again after this murder happens. And it's like, is this a miracle? Is it not? And then Benoit Blanc finally appears, and they figure out the movie, right? And there's some other plots and the Benoit Blancness of it that I won't give all away here. But the end of the movie, and this is where I'm going to get spoilery. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, this is like the Catholic content, but it's also like I wept at how beautiful this movie was because of this moment. So the old priest had gone to a confession a couple of times. I think maybe there was one other confession, and it was never like fully correct. And I just thought it was Hollywood being Hollywood, right? The pinnacle of this movie is Glenn Close. You know Glenn Close. She's been an actor for 80 years. I don't know, 60 years, something like that.
Actress.
No, they are actors.
Thespian.
You watch your mouth. So she was, the whole movie, she was like the right-hand woman of the priest. And she would like it wasn't like a sexual love, but it's like she clearly loved this older priest and was like small parish. She was his right-hand woman this whole time. She was a true believer in everything that he was doing. And it's revealed at the end that she had done some nefarious things. And as a spoiler alert, she is dying in the church. first of all, like Benoit Blanc figures out what happens and that she was a part of it. Like she was a part of this whole charade throughout the thing. And Benoit Blanc, who is a gay atheist, and it's kind of insinuated that he doesn't like the church because being a gay man in the 1950s and the Catholic Church, his mom was a practicing Catholic. He doesn't like the church. You can insinuate why he probably doesn't like the church. And so I thought that was like handled pretty well as well. But him and the young priest, like the young priest is accused of killing the old priest. And Benoit Blanc is convinced that he didn't do it. And he's like essentially setting out to prove it and working with the young priest. And the young priest gets to a point, he's like, I can't deal with this. Like they all think that I did it. I guess I'll just go and confess. And he starts going in to confess that he did it. Benoit Blanc comes and says, like, this gay atheist is protecting this young priest who like, he believes, he's like, I believe you didn't do it. And I respect what you believe. And I like genuinely think that you believe what you believe, even if I don't believe what you believe. So how every one of these Knives Out movies, I think it's been longer than I said spoilers. Another 2 minutes of spoilers. Every Benoit Blanc movie, every Knives Out movie ends with Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig, doing this beautiful soliloquy in a Southern accent about how he figured it all out and how it was actually you. And there's this big gasp in the room and it's this beautiful, and everybody from the movie is in the church pews. And he's like, he goes up to give his big soliloquy. And halfway through his soliloquy, he looks out and he says, like, I couldn't figure it out. And everybody's like, what the heck do you mean? Like, you couldn't figure out? You're the famous Benoit Blanc. Like, I know you from TV. Like, he's famous in that world now. They all leave. And then like 2 minutes later, he's talking to the priest and he's like, you know, something that you said earlier. It's like, you know, if you're forced to do something, it doesn't mean anything. But if you choose to do the good thing, then it's better for you, right? Like that was like like he learned something about the Catholic faith and like respecting this young priest. And sure enough, Glenn Close comes back. I'm getting teary-eyed now. She comes back into the church and she reveals that she did it. And Benoit was like, I knew. Like he had his moment. He was going to have his moment where he was like, and it was Glenn Close, like the person you definitely did not think did anything nefarious the entire movie. It definitely wasn't her. And she comes back in and he's like, I wanted to give you the opportunity to do it. And she was like actively dying at the time. And so he goes to confess, or she goes, like the young priest is there with Glenn Close dying right after it's revealed that she was the killer. And he asks if she wants to go to confession. And she says yes. And she starts confessing all the things that she had revealed that she did wrong, being involved in this murder, being involved in the plot of the whole movie or whatever. And then the priest, right before she dies, asks her to forgive this woman from 60 years ago that ravaged the church. And she has been holding on. It was like a flashback. It was all the flashbacks in the movie or whatever. This woman that she has hated, actively hated for 60 years. And she is gripping onto her rosary beads. And then he says, would you like to forgive so-and-so? And she's like, I can't do it. And he's like, would you like to forgive so-and-so? Or confess that your anger against this person? And she says, yes. And she releases the beads. And as she is dying for the first time in the movie, and like the third or fourth confession, he says, God, the Father of mercies to the ministry. I lost it, dude. He starts saying the pinnacle of the movie is the prayer of absolution. And I'm just like, they did it, man. Like Hollywood did it. The pinnacle of the movie. And the one thing that I could have complained about as a Catholic is that they didn't get confession right the whole rest of the movie. And they did it on purpose so that it could be the climax of the movie. And he reads out the prayers of absolution, which I started this show talking about how much I love confession, how much it moves me. And the pinnacle of this blockbuster Hollywood movie are the most beautiful words I've ever heard in my life. And it meant so much to me that they did this movie correctly. And it's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That spoiler was worth the ride, man. That spoiler was worth the ride. Holy cow.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And it's this beautiful young priest who reminds me so much of Father Anthony. So I'm already emotional about that. And then this lady giving up on this hatred that she's had her whole life. And it's like, I have hatred that I've been holding on to for a long time. And then Benoit Blanc standing there and like he gave up his moment to let her have this moment, even though he doesn't believe in any of the stuff that you and I, it was just, and at the end of the movie, Benoit Blanc's leaving and like, him and this young priest have like a genuine friendship despite them not believing anything. And like Benoit finally got to have a positive moment in a Catholic church for the first time in 50 years. Like, it was a beautiful, beautiful movie. And it's up there for best Catholic movie I've ever seen. And I just cannot believe that my favorite words to hear literally in the world. I'd rather hear those prayers of absolution than somebody say, I love you. Like those are the most powerful words in the world to me. And that was the twist of the movie. It was crazy.
I am speechless. That is beautiful. I want to see the movie, but I don't think I'll be able to see it as good as I just saw you share your experience of the movie.
I know, and I ruined it for you, but my hope is that people will go watch it. It's, all the caveats. There's cussing in it, and there's some inappropriate stuff, but no, like, there's no nudity. There's not it's not like overdone. Like, it's a pretty good movie.
It's not like Game of Thrones.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just very, very, very good. The Way, I've talked about The Way a lot with Martin Sheen. I think that's my favorite. Like, stands the test of time Catholic movie. This one, it's either one or two. Like, it's a very, very special movie.
So God Is Not Dead bumped down to number 3 after you saw this film.
God Not Dead 8 is in the last place. Last thing on the video games. One game that I have finished and the other game that I have not finished. The first game you and I share. I had been looking for a game for me to play with my family because I was like, we're a busy family. We're both working parents. Like, so it's like our kids spend a lot of time on screens, blah, blah, blah. Judge us all you want, but nothing's going to change. Leave us alone. But because of them being on screens a lot, especially during this like busy past 6 weeks over the break, or even like leading into the break, as things started slowing down, I was looking for something that we could do as a family. So something like split fiction, like these like co-op, split screen games that we could play. But I found this game called BallXPit, and it had been a game that I had been wanting to play for a while. And I think the only person on my friends list that had played it before was you.
Yours truly.
So it's a pretty simple game. There's 2 parts to the game. One that's kind of like a Galaga. For those of you who hadn't played video games in a while. There's
also known as Arkanoid. It's one of those games.
Yep, I had them, and then you lost them. Cool. So
I would say, Galaga came from Arkanoid, the 1986 blockbuster video game developed by Tatayo. Sorry, go ahead.
We do have an editor. We can always take this out. So and then there's like a city builder where like you upgrade your town hall and it makes you a little bit stronger in the Galaga game. Well, what's cool about this is that like every run, especially at the beginning of the game, is like 2 to 5 minutes. So I played a run, and then like it's simple enough that my 8-year-old could play, and she came into the room and started playing with me, and then we started alternating, and then my middle daughter, I didn't have to make them turn off their screens. I didn't have to go over there, which like they do if I ask them to. But like they came over, the middle daughter came over, and then we started doing every third round. I'm playing, baby's playing, middle girl's playing, and then my son came over, and they all had this is in the morning still. They all still have plenty of screen time on their own devices. We sat here for 3 hours before we went to mass and played and had this beautiful family time of playing this game. And like for the next 2 weeks until not only did we beat the game, we 100% of the game. We got every achievement you can get in this game as a family. And we sat there for like hours as a family. And it wasn't like, I knew I wasn't going to have to force them. Like if I said, hey, we're going to hang out as a family, like they're cool with that. They're not like these grumpy teens yet of like, oh, I don't want to hang out with my family. Y'all suck. But I love that it happened naturally. And they all enjoyed it, and it was all fun. We got to cheer each other on. There was no fighting about, oh, it's my turn, it's my turn. Everybody's exulting in the other's successes because we're all working together. It was very fun. I think you played it by yourself like a terrible Catholic father.
No, I let my sons play a little bit as well. It was fascinating to see just the twist on the Arkanoid Galaga kind of format, because you could adjust or adapt the balls, the thing that you shoot out, and the second that the boys saw that you could adjust it, they were like, no, do that one. Did your kids the same way? Everyone's like voting on which one to pick and everything. And it all of a sudden became like an election of which ball are we going to use next time and different things like that. So it brought a lot of, even those that were just watching, you don't have to hold the controller to enjoy the game. And that's a neat aspect of it.
There were two that were really funny because like, I confused the rock ball and the fireball, and it creates like a fire earthquake or whatever, right? Did you get to the point? It's kind of one of those things that you kind of have to Google it. You don't really come across on your. Did you create Satan in the game?
No.
Yeah. So there's like if you combine fire and dark, and then combine like dark and poison, it creates a succubus and an incubus. And then if you combine the succubus and the incubus, it creates Satan. And it just wipes out the entire screen with fire. So I'm sitting here with my 8-year-old. I'm like, you did it. You created Satan.
Atta girl.
So that was the one kind of funny, like, ooh, that was weird. But it was very, very, very fun game. The last game, it's this little indie French game. Have you heard of this indie French game that came out last year? Small studio. They've never created a video game before. Is this ringing any bells for you?
Go on. No.
It might ring a bell when I tell you that this small indie studio out of France that literally had never made a video game before won Game of the Year and more Game of the Year awards than any other video game that has ever come out. Is
this Balatro? Is it Joker Poker?
No. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 came out last spring, and it literally this December won more game awards than any other game that has ever come out. And it's a RPG, and it's funny because there's American RPGs and there's like the Japanese, the JRPGs. It's kind of like a JRPG, but it's from France, so I think it's a FRPG. I don't know, but the entire plot of this is it's like a mystery, but you kind of know what's going on, whatever. But I love it because it reminds me a lot of the Catholic Church and kind of the where we stand today. So it's called Expedition 33 because Expedition 100, they call it Expedition 0, but Expedition 100 was this mysterious paintress painted the number 100 on this large thing that you can see from the island that everybody lives on. And they didn't really know what it was, but what it means, long story short, at the end of that year, when that thing says, or at the end of the year, whatever number it says up there, that everybody that age and above dies, or everybody that age dies, 100. So, 100 years ago, not a big deal. 100 years will die. Well, it's been 67 years. So that means all the 50-year-olds are dead because Expedition 50, all the 50-year-olds died after that year. 49, 48, all the way down. Now they're at Expedition 33. So the oldest person alive is 33 years old. So at some point in the last 60-something years, they decided that we live on this island. The paintress that paints this number is on that island. So we're going to send an expedition every year to go stop this, right? So
please stop killing our people.
Yeah. Because this weird magician lady is killing off our population.
Yeah, it went from grandpa to papa pretty quick.
Like the 33-year-old's the oldest person alive. Like, that's crazy. Like, you and I would have been dead many years ago. So every year, these 33-year-olds, there's an expedition that's primarily made up of the people in their last year, because it's like, your two options are, if you know that you're going to die in your last year, are you going to sit and be with your family and live a peaceful life and enjoy the last year that you have with your family, which sounds to me like somebody with like a terminal illness, which is like a great choice. Like, some people make that choice of like, am I going to aggressively attack this, or am I just going to enjoy the time that I have left with my family, right? And the way that they attack this, it's not cancer treatment, but they're like, we're going to go across the water and we're going to go to this thing, and no expedition has ever come back. So you can imagine what happens to those expeditions. It doesn't go.
They perish,
right?
Yeah.
And so you start and you play this main character who's 33 years old. All these expeditioners are 33. Now, some younger ones can elect to go, but why would they do that? Because, no one's ever come back. They're almost assuredly dead. And then right when you land on the island, spoiler alert for Expedition 33, everyone in your party dies except for like 4 people. Like, you bring 30 and immediately on setting foot, you're like, hey, we're here. Blah, 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 blah. Instant death for everybody except for like 3 or 4 people. Like, it's the bad guy, right? Voiced by the guy who voices Gollum, which is really cool. And you play the guy voiced by Charlie Cox, Daredevil. So they got some voice actors to come and help with this, which is very fun. But as you play the game, and move forward, all of the checkpoints in this RPG, when you get to the next place, are all previous expeditions. So Expedition 67 made it to this point, and they died at this point. But every expedition left some piece of knowledge in like a little recorder that helps you move forward in the game. Expedition 67 helped you with this. Expedition 55 helped you with this. Expedition 99 helped you with this. So as you're going, the entire idea, and like their thing that they say, like it was used in the game promo, but like the thing that like their mantra is for those who come after. That's what they say. We're doing all of this for those who come after. Like we are assuredly going to die. The 33-year-olds are definitely going to die at the end of this year, whether it's on that expedition or whether it's here. We're doing this for those who come after. Yeah.
This sounds like a Edge of Tomorrow with higher stakes. You've seen Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, I don't remember it though.
It's like Groundhog Day. He dies and then he comes back to life and he has the knowledge from the day before and then he just keeps getting further every time he dies.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But it's way higher stakes because it'd be like he dies and someone after him has to come.
Right. Yeah.
And somehow get that knowledge. That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. So it's really cool like how like the story is built in with the game mechanics and it's all just so well done. But then there's this moment, and spoiler alert for Clair Obscur if you plan on playing it for the next, 60 seconds or whatever. There's this beautiful moment where
I'll just mute you. You just give me a thumbs up when you're done.
Perfect. Okay. You can go away. So the main character at the end of Act 1, he gets killed. And it's this huge shocking moment because you as the player get killed, and he knows that he's going to die, but he looks at this young lady who essentially he's doing this for. And for those who come after is no longer this like just a thing that you say, but like he's literally giving up his life to protect this younger girl that he is, it's like a sister to him. And it really brings to life this whole for those who come after. You can come back.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So that story makes me think of the Catholic Church and how all these holy people before have led the way and kind of paved the way for those who come after, right? Like we have the biggest ones. Our Expedition 0, our first expedition, was like the apostles, and they laid the thing. And then we had the early church fathers, and then we had the saints, and it's like they all died. They're all gone, right? But like for those who come after, and like it was really emotional for me. Like Wake Up Dead Man was not the only time that I cried with some media. Like I cried at the end of this moment that I just explained. And it's very impactful, but very much because it reminded me of because I am the recipient of people who paved the way for me, like just a reminder that this isn't about me. Everybody on that world is none of this is about me. It's all they're doing this expedition not for themselves because they know it's a very low chance. But if Expedition 33 can help get a little bit further, then maybe they finally defeat it in 32 or 31 or 30 or 29, because they have to defeat it soon, because our 14-year-old's really going to solve this if everybody else did. There's only a small window compared to what they've already done.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just two very good non-Catholic media things that meant the world to me as a Catholic. Yeah. Just very, very, very special. So, all right. We've gone for a long time. You had one more thing. You want to share it?
I'd say we save it for next time, because it definitely isn't time sensitive.
We save it for a whole month from now.
So you guys wait to see. We're going to play a little game called What Would Taylor Do? And I've got a doozy for him.
I love those games. So we'll be back next month. I'm excited because between now and then, I'm leading my first men's retreat in almost 2 years. And not only am I leading the men's retreat, but you are going to be on campus. Now, you must have hated the last men's retreat because you're refusing to come on this one. You're going to be leading one of those youth retreats with your other boyfriend, Jeremy, that you love more than me. But we all get to spend some time together this weekend because I'm leading a retreat on one side of the retreat center. You're leading it on the other side. But we're going to sleep in the same building, not room, but same building. And we all get to hang out, and it's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be great. Yeah. Yeah. So I will see you this weekend. For everyone else, we'll see you next month.
For everyone else, there's MasterCard. And then you and I get to do 2 retreats together. Well, I think 1 retreat together. I think you're skipping out on me for one of them. But we're just going to see a lot of each other in person over the next 2 months, and I'm very excited. So I'm Taylor Schroll. I'll be back in a month. He's Chris Bartlett. He'll be back in a month. See ya!